You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. Yesterday, Donald Trump sat down with Harris Faulkner at Fox News, and he said this. I'm going to tie it all into. Go to my iPad, please.
We are at one of those historical moments where future generations will look back and they'll decide who we were. Are you the president to unite all of us, given everything that's happening right now?
Well, I certainly think so, and I certainly hope so. And the relationships we have are incredible. The spirit of this country, and especially considering what happened. I mean, we had out of nowhere a plague come in from China. It just came in. And it came to all over the world. It went all over the world. You look at it, 186 countries, and they were devastated. And we were certainly hit very hard. Some were hit harder than us, relatively, but we were hit very, very hard. And now we're making our comeback. And then on top of it, we had the riots, which were unnecessary to the extent they were. If the governors and mayors would have taken a stronger action, I think the right.
Well, so Leah. We were talking with the Speaker of the New York Assembly, and I said, great, Governor signed these new laws. He signed these new laws. But you could have signed the laws before. Trump says the riots were unnecessary. I have never wanted to advocate violence, but I can study American history. And American history says, tear up shit, now y'all white folks pay attention. Burn buildings, burn cars, now we've got your attention. Mm-hmm. That's our history. And if you look at all of those bills that were passed before, they were all followed by black blood being spilled. 4 little girls, Medgar Evers, Dr. King, I can go on and on. I don't know a period in time where black folks, where things were passed because folks were simply benevolent.
You know, so first things first, right? Let's put aside what Donald Trump has to say, because there is nothing that Donald Trump has to say about riots that actually meshes with any kind of real history. You know, H. Rap Brown, SNCC, Black Panthers at one point said that violence is as American as apple pie. And he was absolutely right, because violence is a central component of America. The questions that we have to ask is, who gets to be violent and why do they get to be violent, right? I'm always struck by those images of the men in paramilitary gear who are protesting the quarantine, protesting, you know, the fact that they can't go to the gym, that they can't go to, you know, go out to eat at Applebee's, who are standing and screaming in police officers' faces. And we say, oh, those are very fine people. Those are people who, you know, deserve to be out here. They're just fighting for their rights and their freedom. But let black people actually rebel because of actual real grievances with the system that has consistently failed them. And all of a sudden it's, no, we don't want to talk about that. But I think too, Roland, you're absolutely onto something. Violence actually does beget change. That we do see a lot of these initiatives historically going back that have to do with civil rights that are related to violence. I mean, even if we put aside for a second the idea of urban rebellions and riots and things like that, when we look at something like Bloody Sunday and we look at King and we look at the marchers on the bridge, that was a violent incident, right? That was surrounded in this idea of nonviolence. But what we see is that the state, right, that when we push the state and we use forms of violence to push the state, that we actually do get results. So nobody is advocating for violence, but to suggest that violence is not part of American history is just, it's ludicrous.
Well, and the thing that's just laughable to me is all these people just, you know, we just saw that video. Mm-hmm. And I totally, I get it. But Philando Castile happened in Minneapolis.
Sure did.
Before this.
Yes, it did.
That was an awful video, too.
There were the brother who was Jonathan Farrell, mm-hmm. Charlotte, Samuel DuBose, Cincinnati. Stephon Clark, mm-hmm. Sacramento, Kojima Powell, St. Louis. I mean,
Tamir Rice, Cleveland. You keep going.
I can start all over. John Crawford III. I mean, Dave Chappelle last night, Leah, dropped his 846 comedy special. Now, I won't call it comedy special. And he nailed it. And he did it in Beaver Creek, Ohio. And Dave Chappelle tells a story where the cop who shot and killed John Crawford III, who we rarely mention because he got killed in between Eric Garner and Michael Brown. The cop who killed John Crawford III pulled Dave Chappelle over the day before.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But you remember that. Again, a white person made a phone call and got John Crawford swatted and murdered. And this is why the Amy Coopers of the world and the rest of them need to be brought up on charges, because when you call the police on black people, you could very well be killing us. And I don't believe that's an unintended consequence. I believe it's actually very purposeful. That's why people can do things and say things like, I'm going to call the police and tell them a black man is attacking me and threatening me, because they know what it will do, right? That the police force will be activated on the word of a white person against a black person. And there's virtually nothing that any video can do that will ever prove to white people, many of them, that the black person did anything other than resist, misbehave, threaten, or some other such thing. The video in many cases have been evidence, right, against our own, the rationale for our own murders. In many cases, they don't, prosecute the police and show their guilt. It shows evidence of our guilt. That's why lynching photos were so powerful, because it was believed that good white people would never just kill some black person. They had to do something. And these police videos are that modern version of they had to do something. I don't know why it was just this one. I think Rob's hunch that it's because of COVID that it finally shocked the conscience. But when a child like Tamir Rice can be murdered within seconds with an air gun, then something is really rotten in Denmark. So it's been wrong for a long time. And Americans are just catching up.
And we've seen it. We've experienced it. We go through it every day. And I'll just say this to your earlier point, Roland. When the focus has been on violence to allow some people who don't want to be sympathetic or understand our humanity, that allows their exit ramp. But I don't buy that. Here's the thing. So a lot of times when they talk about the violence, they're talking about the destruction of property. I'm not advocating that, but I don't equate that to the same level. So when you hear people say, like, it's horrible that black men are being killed, but why are you destroying properties? Your priorities are backwards. Priority is not on property. It should be on lives. That's the issue. That's why we're out here. So I wish it didn't take that.
Actually, I would appreciate if white folks would go to their old perspective. Because if you cared about property, we used to be seen as property.
Oh, well, I don't know what the perspective is. I just know.
Well, they've also torn up Wilmington, North Carolina, Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Just saying.
I mean, white people can ruin all kinds of things.
To your point that you had on your show before, Roland, we know there are crazy white people in this world. We need other white people to check them. Black people have been doing this for a long time. It's time for them to check them. That's what they got to do. These indifferent, moderate people that say, I don't want to do any of this stuff. I don't believe in what's happening. Then step up and be anti-racist. That's what we need right now.
And I believe we are seeing that. All right, folks, back to that Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment. All right, folks, Black-owned company, Mary Spiel. She created these amazing headphones, 360-degree headphones, 4D. Gamers love them. I love them with music. Of course, you can even talk on them. They're Bluetooth. Just great set of headphones. We have a great partnership with them. If you go to Ceek.com, Ceek.com, use this promo code RMVIP2020, RMVIP2020, for you to be able to check these, to get these headphones. And so, real cool. They're great. So if y'all going to be out there and you're buying JBL and Bose and the rest of these companies, hey, you might as well support a black-owned company with these headphones. Ceek.com, Ceek.com. And again, promo code is RMVIP2020, RMVIP2020.